Welcome. I am Alyssa Melby, Voter Services Chair of the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls. I would like to welcome you to the Northfield Mayor Candidate Forum. While all candidates were invited to participate in the forum today, Michael Kirschling was unable to attend. The League's policy is to allow candidate forums to proceed if at least one candidate is present. We thank the candidates and the audience for attending today and our internet audience for viewing. The League of Women Voters does not support or oppose a political party or candidate for office. Sponsorship of this forum is a public service, providing you with an opportunity to hear the candidates discuss important issues face-to-face. The views expressed here tonight are those of the candidates and not those of the League of Women Voters. Sponsorship of this forum is not an endorsement by the League of any particular candidate. There is never enough time to cover all of the issues, and we received many questions ahead of tonight's forum. If you feel that your question was not addressed, please contact the candidate directly after the forum. And now I would like to introduce our moderator, Catherine Davis, a certified moderator from the Rochester League of Women Voters.
We'll start the candidate forum with opening statements. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for their opening statement and 1 minute for their closing statements. Candidates, again, who are unable to attend today's forum were given the opportunity to have us read an opening statement on their behalf. Opening statements will be in alphabetical order, beginning with Tim Babini, followed by Ruth Dahl, then Adam Gebler, Michael Kirschlings, which I will read, Rhonda Pownell, George Zucolato, and Erica Zweifel. The closing statements will be in random order. The order of answering questions will be rotated, and candidates will have 1 minute to respond to the questions. Please note our timekeepers, volunteers from your local league who have 30-second and 15-second sign. They also have a stop sign or will call time to be sure each candidate has the full 1 minute response time. Again, we hope that most, if not all, of the questions will be submitted by the audience. We also have questions submitted via email to the League of Women Voters of Northfield and Cannon Falls. So let's begin with the opening statements. Candidate Babini.
All right, there we go. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you to the League for holding this for us. My name is Tim Babini. I have been a resident for Northfield since 2005. I am a 26-year veteran of the Air Force and the Air National Guard. I served 3 tours in Iraq in 2005, 2007, and 2008. I put it this way, when I got moved into Northfield, we loved it here. We really wanted to get into a small town. We previously lived in Burnsville for a few years, and we wanted to get back to that small town feeling, as my wife and I are both from a small town. The first few years here, we loved it. Then we kind of watched things. We weren't really paying that much attention, but we did watch how things just slowly started to change. We thought, maybe there's something going on that we don't know about, and we didn't really ask. But then the last 3 or 4 years, I started noticing some really big changes, and then watching how the council and city administration was working, and I just thought, now I know there's something wrong, because it's just something's not right. What's going on? Then I started talking to people on the streets and finding out, they're talking about taxes and how things are voted on in the city, and I thought, well, maybe I need to pay more attention. So I did. When we started doing the bike trails and things like that, that's when I jumped into the race. That was in August of 23. I threw my hat in right away, proclaimed that I wanted to do better, and I think I can. You, the people, me, the people, all of us need to be able to decide on what goes on in this city, how our money is spent, because after all, that is our money. So that's what I'm here for. I want to be totally transparent with the people in this city and make sure that you're all aware of what's going on and that we do things right. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Ruth Dahl.
Good evening, and I'd like to thank the League for the invitation to come here tonight and participate with this debate. Thank you to Catherine, and thank you to Alyssa for making the arrangements. I was born and raised in Northfield, and I raised my 4 children here. I've been a member of the business community, and I've served the community on the school board for 17 years. This is what I believe we need to change in Northfield, and as a leader of the city council, I would work toward curbing the appetite for spending in Northfield. We need to lower the tax rates. We need to listen and respect the citizens of Northfield. They pay all the bills for the city. It is not sustainable to keep doing these large projects all within a 2 or 3 year period. Leave Bridge Square alone. It's lovely, it's historic. I believe we have a parking problem. It's wonderful to have such a parking problem, and I'll tell you why. Look at other towns around Northfield. They do not have any parking problems because they don't have a vibrant downtown like Northfield has. They would love to have our parking problem. You can park anywhere on any of their main streets any time of the day because many of their storefronts are closed. We can certainly do better with the parking spaces we do have available. We need to create affordable housing options in rental and ownership, and I believe I've worked in this area for many years, and it's doable. I've worked in 3 states with affordable housing options, and I know how to make it work. We need to make our development office more welcoming and for new business in housing development. I'll mention this again later. It's the last thing you'll hear me say. If you do not vote, no one hears you. Thank you.
Candidate Gebler.
I am a transplant in Northfield. I've lived all over the world. I have lived all over this country. And 10 years ago, I chose to come here. I weighed this across many other places that I've seen and every other thing I've known from this world, and I found this to be a wonderful community to come and start my family and raise my family in. I weighed all options, and I took a look at everything from the community to the placement to the temperature, which is a thing to consider here in Minnesota, of course. That being said, this is a fantastic group. This is a fantastic way of living. However, about 4 or 5 years ago, I started noticing my taxes go up. I started seeing the large climbs in the mortgage bills, and I started seeing large climbs in needing to have the affordability of living here, and I saw what it was being spent on. I've always thought it's worth paying for if you get a good return on it. I have not been seeing that return lately, and I do not see that return in our future if we continue down this path. I think that it's important for all of us to consider that yes, Northfield can have higher than average taxes. Northfield should not have 95 percentile of the state's taxes. We should not be higher than anyone else we talk to. We should not be moving on the path that we are. And we can still be progressive. We can still be investing in our community. We can still be working towards that bright future of being the shining beacon on the hill, while doing so in a way that does not strip us of our ability to afford to live here. Thank you.
I will now read candidate Kirschling's opening statement. Ladies and gentlemen of Northfield, it is with immense gratitude and a profound sense of duty I announce my candidacy for mayor of this beloved city. This year holds special significance for me as my 2 children begin their educational journey at Bridgewater Elementary School in the fall. Watching them step into that nurturing environment will be reaffirmed my commitment to ensuring Northfield remains a haven of beauty, opportunity, and community spirit. In these challenging times, it is imperative that we amplify the voices of our citizens. I am dedicated to fostering an inclusive dialogue where every resident feels heard and valued. This community thrives when we work together, and as your mayor, I promise to be a steadfast advocate for your concerns, hopes, and dreams. Northfield faces pivotal issues that require compassionate leadership. Our city must address sustainable development while preserving our cherished natural landscapes. Economic vitality and innovation are essential for our prosperity, yet we must ensure that growth benefits all residents equitably. Furthermore, public safety, education, and healthcare remain critical areas where strategic investments and thoughtful policies are paramount. My passion for politics is rooted in a deep desire to serve and give back to communities that have enriched my life. Running for this prestigious office is not just an honor, but a responsibility I embrace with unwavering resolve. I am committed to leveraging my experience, knowledge, and dedication to lead Northfield into a future where our collective potential is fully realized. Thank you for considering me as your candidate. Together, we can keep Northfield beautiful, resilient, and thriving for generations to come. And with that, candidate Pownell.
Thank you. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rhonda Pownell. I'm an Ole grad with a degree in social work. I've lived in Northfield now for 35 years. I'm married to a townie and have 5 adult children, all born and raised here. I've served 16 years on the city council, the first 8 years as a city councilor, while also serving 8 years on the League of Minnesota Cities Board, where I was also president of that organization. I also concurrently served during that time 7 years on the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Board, which insures over 1,000 different governmental entities across the state of Minnesota. My last 8 years on the council have been as mayor. Governing in Northfield is truly a team effort. I'm a firm believer in bringing people together to find common ground. I lead by example, and that means showing respect and honor to my colleagues, especially when we aren't aligned on policy. It's vital for mayors to have the capacity to work alongside whatever the majority policy perspective on the council is, and with elections that can change every 2 years. Mayors set the tone for their communities. My strong commitment to civility, strategic planning, and the ability to work with people across different policy perspectives have been hallmarks of my time as mayor, and it's yielding results. Northfield needs strong, consistent leadership with a proven track record of leading with civility to find common ground to help move us forward. Thank you.
Candidate Zucoloto. Close? You can-
Howdy, y'all. My name is George Zucoloto. I just turned 29 last week, and thank you. And I've been here for 25 years now, almost, I think 24, 25. And I went to Northfield High School and then switched over to Arcadia when I figured out that worked better for me. And I worked hard at the Key. I was a board member and then was president, and then worked there for a couple of years. I worked at Blue Monday. I might have served y'all coffee. I worked there for a couple of years. And I've been on the council this is my 4th year now. And I'm coming back from work, so I'm a little low energy. And it's, I kind of didn't want to run for mayor until I had to switch gears, because, all these things that are in my community, I live in Viking Terrace, all these things that are happening, it just feels like we're not getting the help that we need, And I know the people in the lower ends of the community, I mean, to be honest, I don't think I've ever made more than $40,000 a year. And I'm up here deciding on millions of dollars, you know what I mean? And it's a weird dichotomy in my brain to do that, for any of these people. We're not experts, we're not financial experts. But after high school, I worked hard in the arts, and I was in bands. I learned audio engineering, sound. I did, all these things. And I think we've been treating government like a corporation. And I think some people want to see it more as a nonprofit kind of thing. But I think of it more as an art project where it's got to serve the people. It's got to serve you guys, and it's got to be an expression of our strengths, of our weaknesses, to make something that we can all, enjoy. That is representative of how I feel that this town is really beautiful. So, thank y'all.
And candidate Zweifel.
Thank you, George. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This is so exciting to see such a packed room and so many people here. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the League for putting on this forum tonight. I am Erica Zweifel, and I'm running for mayor. I'm running, well, I ran for council and I'm running for mayor because I love serving the community as an elected official. I love engaging with people, person to person, neighbor to neighbor, community to community. And this is a room like this, a room full of people where we come together. I find the word political to bring such joy to me, where it's a place where we all come together and make decisions together. So that's why I'm running, because I love being in that realm and doing it with you all. So I've lived in Northfield for 33 years. I've worked at Carleton, and then I worked at St. Olaf for 17 years, and now I'm back at Carleton now for 13 years. I know both sides of town pretty well. I served on the council for 12 years. And what will I bring to mayor? I've been getting a lot of questions. Okay, that's great. You have experience. You've lived here. You enjoy the service. What will you bring to mayor? What I'll bring to the mayoral role is a collaborative leadership style. I enjoy, as I said, working alongside of people. My leadership style is often described as I work alongside you all or even behind and lifting other people up. I know how local government works. I hear your concerns, and I know how to get things done. I currently work in Carleton's Civic Engagement Office, and I'll bring my experience in civic engagement to prioritize community input and local knowledge. You can find more on my website at ericaformayor.org.
Thank you. We'll begin our questions now, and candidate Zweifel, we'll start with you, and then we'll be going to candidate Pownell. Our first question is, tell us why you're running for mayor, and what do you see as the biggest issues facing Northfield?
Okay, thanks. I think I already gave you a bit about why I'm running for mayor, and I think you'll see. Sorry, making myself a few notes so I don't forget anything, and my time's already started. All right, well, we'll just dive right in. We've mentioned housing. I've served on the city's HRA, and I've been asked a lot about, well, give specific examples. So I'll just talk about housing because I do think that's one of the biggest issues that we have. When I served on the HRA and as a council member, when we brought the ADUs to the council for approval, I had read about other communities that had added churches to that. And so I wrote the language that added the ability for churches to host ADUs on their land. And so that's an example of a specific thing that I had done on the council and that I would do as mayor, is do my homework, do the research. I'm seeing some questions. There we go. Okay. I think that last 15 seconds was a little long.
Thank you. Candidate Pownell, and then we'll be going to candidate Zucolato.
Now is it on? Oh, there we go. All right. So our city government is working. All hands are on deck, and we're working well together. I've worked hard to lead by example in this area. Together with staff, the council, boards, and commissions, we are all pulling together to make our local government work. We've not had a government that's worked well together prior to my time as mayor serving the last 8 years. Northfield is one of the best small towns in the country. We're home to 2 world-class colleges, a historic riverfront downtown, and local hospital. We have a vibrant culture, celebrated art, strong economy, great public school system, and an excellent quality of life. And all of these areas need to be carefully preserved and enhanced. There is more work to be done to make progress on our initiatives identified as priorities by the past 2 city councils in our strategic plan, and I'm excited to continue that important work and place a high priority on economic vitality because our taxes, I know, are a concern to many.
Thank you. Candidate Zucolato, and then we'll be going to candidate Bobini.
Thank you. I'm running because I think I really have a vision of what Northfield could be in the future. My family just bought our first home here. We're here for the long run, and I really have, if I win or not, I have a commitment to this place. I want to make this place the coolest place ever. I want to make it the friendliest place ever. I want to make it, I think why specifically I want to run for mayor is because the mayor controls the vibes of the whole room and how things work. And I think, you know, there's not enough laughter in those rooms. There's not enough straightforward communication. There's not enough. I talked to Peter Dolan. I'm sorry for saying this, but I told him there's a fog that comes over you. It's like this. You get projected PowerPoints and all these things, and then it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll give money to pickleball courts, even though, you know, the skateboarders worked so hard for so long, and they got pushed back. But when someone asks for pickleball courts, let's give it to them. I want to get rid of that fog and make it so that it's fun, and actually, like, you guys want to be here. Like, it's packed. It's never been this packed.
Thank you. Candidate Babini, and then we'll be going to candidate Gebler.
The reason I'm running is passion. I have a lot of passion in everything that I do. I have a lot of passion for this city. Someday I'm going to leave here. I hopefully admit it. I'm going to retire soon. My wife will retire soon, and we're going to head south and get away from the snow. And I want to leave it better than what I found it when I moved here in 2005. And I think I can do that. I want to communicate with the people. I want to make sure that you all are well informed on everything that's done, every step that's made in this city, every project that is proposed. You should know first. You shouldn't know last. That's the way I believe that things should work. That's the sign of a true democracy, that the people are well informed. I never stop until I finish a project. You can ask any of my friends, and I'm just that hard-nosed. I will go until it's complete and it's done right. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gebler, and then candidate Dahl. Dahl will be last.
Dissenting voices are a strength in democracy. To hear them is to know that there is a well representation of all points of view. And I think that currently we are seeing too much of a consensus, too much of a singular voice in the chamber councils and in the council chambers. And my slogan in running for mayor is, we're all in this together. I have a fantastic knack for pulling out different points of view, for getting people to say their true opinion, their thoughts, their feelings on something that may go against the grain, that may be unpopular with the current room. But I think it's very important to hear all of these pieces. It's very important to make a decision knowing all of the dissents that people can bring to it, all of the different points of view that we have, and that it is needed for us to welcome and compromise and work with these different points of view.
Thank you. Candidate Dahl.
I have some top priorities, and they're pretty straightforward. I want to keep the tax rates reasonable. I want to cut the fat out of the budget. I want to open up business growth, housing choices, and job growth. I want to create an atmosphere in our development office that's open and welcoming. I want those who are interested in doing business here or creating some kind of development here to have a welcoming atmosphere into our development office. And I want to create an environment or be an agent of change for the environment of City Hall. I feel it is adversarial at this point. I want to turn that around, and I want to make it a welcoming environment for everyone who comes in. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question here from the audience, and this question starts with candidate Dahl, and then we'll go to candidate Babini after that. One way of looking at the role of government is as a provider of certain public good and services. What public goods and service should the city of Northfield provide? And please be specific.
I think the public services that Northfield should provide, we have an excellent hospital. We have excellent medical service. I think we need to have good utilities. We need reliable internet. We need safe water, which we have very good water in Northfield currently. And I think we need to be part of a system that is accountable to all citizens. If there's concerns, you need to be able to bring them in, and we need to talk about it. And I think the city council has a responsibility to provide those essential services, police, fire, water, utilities, all those things need to be an important consideration for the council.
Candidate Babini, and then we will go to candidate Zweifel.
As far as city services that I feel that we need, Ruth hit it on the head on many of them. I also think we should have usable streets that are safe, that are easy to travel on, that are well lit, that people can walk at 10 o'clock at night and not take the risk of getting hit by a car. Some of our infrastructure in that department is lacking. You can go down a lot of streets. I've heard a lot of people complain that there's a street by my house where a lot of people walk and at night there's no lights at all. We need to take those into consideration, listen to these people if they bring it up, and let's investigate it and do a study on it and find out, yeah, is it feasible? I mean, we don't have to put 100 lights there. We can put a few just to try to help everybody out. But yeah, our city infrastructure really needs to be better, and we can provide that service if we just do the right thing and prioritize where our money is going. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zweifel, and then we'll go to candidate Gebler.
Okay, thank you. That's a great question. I have some of the same answers and some different answers. So, public good and services infrastructure, plowing, streets, water, voting. I thought that was a good one to put on the list, voting. Y'all get out and vote. The essential services of police and fire. And then I also started thinking about economic development and having that vibrant downtown that we've all talked about and mentioned here. And part of that, I'm going to really stick on the housing maybe tonight, it sounds like, is having that affordable housing. If you don't have the affordable housing, or at least really robust housing stock, it's hard to recruit businesses. It's hard to recruit new folks to move to town if they can't find a place to live in, a place to call home. And so I think that the city does play a role in that, especially in the affordable housing, because it's really hard to get developers to step into that role. And so it needs to be a private-public partnership with that. Same with economic development. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gebler, and then we'll go to candidate Pownell.
I don't think anyone here would argue against the necessity of government providing safety, security, health, and utilities. I think we're all in consensus on that one. Some of the areas that we need to focus on, that we as a community have the opportunity to grow and are responsible for, is beyond affordable housing for initially moving here, for those who are coming to Northfield. There is a need for affordable housing for people to put down roots. Housing where you can move from an apartment or a townhouse into your first real home. You can raise your kids. You can afford it as a young family. You can afford to bring your kids into the school system here. The education system, founding and helping these kids grow is a wonderful part of this town, but we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure of affordable housing for starter homes so that way these families can really start a real life here.
Thank you. Candidate Pownell, and then it'll be candidate Zucolato.
All right, thank you. I agree with a lot of what's been said. Police, fire, streets, sewer, and water. Stormwater, wastewater, water that you drink, all really foundational. And then also quality of life amenities. Our park system, our library are really important to our community. Not all cities have a robust park system. We have a river that runs through our city. We need to maintain and ensure that it stays within its borders to the degree that we can, right? But that also means that we ensure that we've got the infrastructure in place to be able to handle it. Absolutely essential. We have a community development department that all permitting runs through our community development department, as well as housing and economic development and planning. So robust community offerings are really important to our community. Quality of life is one of the main reasons that people move to our community. Really important.
Thank you. And candidate Zucolato.
A lot of really good answers. Let me be naive and dreamer for a second and You know, we own the hospital, and sometimes I'm like, why can't we have free healthcare for everyone in Northfield? Why can't everyone at least have free checkups? Why can't there be free food for people? Why can't we have farms where we build food so everyone has a CSA share? Why don't we have our own solar system, solar grid? So why don't we have our own solar system, guys? Why don't we have a solar grid so if the energy goes down, we have, you know, security in that stuff? We have to start thinking about these things for the future, and because all these things, we gotta shout out to all the utilities and all these people that make our lives so easy and flawless behind the scenes. But then we gotta start thinking about the future and how do we proceed and build things that will make us last for generations, and have us be what's that word? You know. Thank you guys. Do you guys know what's up? You guys know what it is.
Thank you. We have another question from the audience here, and we'll start with candidate Zugalato, and then we will go to candidate Gebler. How specifically will you support the small business community?
How specifically will I support the small business community? It's hard to do that as a city council. We have grants, we have all these things. You know what I can do? I can urge them to think about what do we actually need. I see a downtown full of three or four bike shops, 4 or 5 coffee shops. It's like, what are the things that we actually need? Like, how can we give entrepreneurs who have different ideas in this town a shot? You know what I mean? How do we allow them to thrive and give them opportunities? We're giving certain people tax breaks and other people don't. You know what I mean? How do we, there's certain people buying up our town, and we know who it is, and all the stuff that comes out of it is mid. It's not good. It lacks character. It lacks the thing that makes Northfield great. And I'm not afraid to say it. Like, we got to support them, but they got to support us and give us what we need to. I
Thank you,
over
candidate
business
Zugalato.
every time.
Thank you,
I
candidate
put people over
Zugalato.
business every time.
Thank you, candidate Zugalato. Candidate Gebler is next, and then we'll go to candidate Babini.
Well, I ran a small business in Dundas for about 5 years, and I've been a project manager before that. And I can tell you that I've seen directly what small businesses need. And 2 things really come to mind as far as what local politicians can do to truly help out these business owners. Firstly, we have to be very mindful of the tax burden we are putting on them. There's no way around it. Business taxes are something that we have a direct impact on the businesses that are going into place. We need to see that these are not people who are taking home hundreds of thousands of dollars every month and we can tax all we need out of them. They are real people with real needs that are feeling the crunch, and they are stuck between inflation and taxes. Secondly, we can do what we can to increase foot traffic and increase street traffic to their businesses. We can see the traffic patterns, we can see where construction goes, we can see where we're developing around these businesses, and we can make mindful decisions to help increase traffic flow to their businesses.
Thank you. Candidate Zweifel, and then we'll go to candidate Dahl.
Thank you. It is on. I would say we know what we do well, and I would honor that local knowledge and the local knowledge that our businesses have. We excel in education, healthcare, and manufacturing. So I would reach out, enter into dialogue with local businesses, talk to them about what it's a substitution exercise type principle where you say, what 3 things do you need to bring in to do what you do, and what 3 things do you need to dispose of as part of what you do? And are there businesses that we could recruit to the community that would help your bottom line through that substitution exercise? Talking to them, what would they like to see? Finding businesses that are complementary to the businesses that we currently have. That way, uplifting the current businesses we have and recruiting specifically new businesses to come. And that way, I would increase the tax base by recruiting businesses that are complementary to the businesses that we already have currently.
Thank you. Candidate Dahl.
I think the one thing we can control are the tax increases, period. We can't control their electrical costs, we can't control their monthly rent or mortgage payment, whatever they've invested. But we can encourage more business into our vibrant downtown by controlling how high we raise the taxes. And I will tell you, I've talked to some retailers downtown. One retailer told me that her property tax went up 50%, 50% in 1 year. Now, that is unlivable. I don't know how many t-shirts you have to sell, or how many cups of coffee you have to sell, or how many sandwiches you have to sell, but you have to sell a lot to make up that difference. And we have to stop that activity so we can control the taxes to help the people downtown.
Thank you. Candidate Pownell.
All right, there we go. All right. So I would say, in general, economic development supports everyone. So we need to support and grow our existing businesses, expand the tax base through infill and redevelopment first, and at the edges of our community second, and also in a dense, contiguous manner that strengthens the small town sense of place and high quality of life. I would also say we need to expand tourism. We need to increase the number of arts and culture events and coordinate and increase sports tournaments and activate our river, making it possible for people to kayak and canoe. Strengthening the economic vitality of our downtown by expanding the Riverwalk and creatively developing the backsides of buildings that front the river, turning them into attractive places where people want to be. Expanding the quality of life. Our commercial and industrial tax base are really instrumental in ensuring that we have a long-term viable community, and when we do that, that also supports our small businesses.
Thank you. Another question, this one was emailed prior to the forum, and we will start with candidate Pownell and then move to candidate Zucolato. We can think of housing on a continuum from homelessness to subsidized housing, to affordable rental, to affordable home ownership and market rate housing. Where do you see the biggest gaps? And what is the role of city government in any, if any, in easing the housing crisis we are facing?
Well, I would say we need to collaborate with all agencies like the Community Action Center, Three Rivers, Habitat for Humanity, and other public-private partnerships to help us meet the housing needs. It's not something that the city of Northfield can do on our own. Housing projects often take multiple years and multiple funding sources to bring a project through to completion. It takes a long time. All financial tools should be utilized to move housing forward. Our HRA is well situated with a lot of housing experience to give the council guidance. Since 2020, we have added 750 homes or rental units, and they have either been built or they're in the pipeline to be built. There was a lot of work that went into that. Ordinance revisions like inclusionary zoning, short-term rental, tenant protections are also being worked on to address the housing need. We need housing across the full spectrum to be able to meet the needs of our community.
Thank you. Candidate Zucolato, and then we'll go to candidate Dahl.
Yeah, exactly what Rhonda said. I think we need all types of housing, but I think in Northfield specifically, we need that affordable housing market, that spot. And the hard thing I'm learning as I go in this city council experience is how that is possible, because the city council, we have land, we have all these things, HRA, which I'm on, is working on it, but we need to put the pressure on the developers to make something actually creative. We were at a HRA meeting where a developer said something about a plan not being creative. But let me tell you, everything I've seen that is popping up in Northfield is uncreative. We need actually good houses made of good material, made well, beautiful, that cost less, and that's a dream. How do we do that? That's what I need. We need to find the answers. I don't have that answer, but the houses that are on College Street are not comparable to the houses that are being built now. They're not in the same way. How do we get dignity to those people who are on the lower levels? Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Dahl, and then we'll go to candidate Babini.
As I said earlier, affordable housing is one thing, and affordable new housing ownership is another thing. I think we should work with developers, find ways to put lower cost housing into some of the developments that they maybe want to come here and build. Let's find a way that they can build a house for $200,000 or $250,000. It doesn't need 7 roof lines, it doesn't need 4 garages, but let's find a way to put those into housing development plans. And I will also tell you that I think we need to take down all the barriers that developers come to Northfield City Hall and they walk out with a headache. We have to stop that activity. We have to welcome those guests into our town, sit down with them and say, how can we make this work?
Thank you. Candidate Babini, and then we'll follow that with candidate Zweifel.
Affordable housing is everybody's concern. Mine is as well. I just don't think that affordable housing for a house that costs $400,000 is not affordable. Rent in a new apartment that's $1,800 a month is not affordable. I can't pay that. I don't want to pay that. As Ruth said, we need to get contractors in here. Let's negotiate with something. That we don't need these big elaborate palaces everywhere. We just need some simple homes at a decent price, especially with mortgage rates the way they are now at 7-8%, whatever they are. I see payments on a $300,000 house and they're $2,600 a month. That's over double what I pay for my house right now. So we need to just find a way to make this work, be flexible, invite them in, make them feel warm and welcome, and find a way to get these people to build some of these nice houses for these young couples just coming into town with a newborn baby, and they want to put down some roots here and find out how great we are. Thank you.
Candidate Zweifel, and then we'll go to candidate Gebler.
Thank you. Yeah, so I served on the HRA when I was on the city council, and it is an incredibly challenging job. And I would just say that we need to work together and not at cross purposes, and we need to push as many housing projects forward as we can, as many different, with as many varieties and many different options. Always when I was on the HRA, we're asked to work on the margins. We're given the land that no one else wants. It's not near downtown, it's not walkable to downtown, it's not bikeable to downtown. And so I think linking housing to transportation is a really crucial thing going forward, so that we not only are we housing someone, we're putting up that affordable housing, but maybe they wouldn't have to have a car to get to their job. And we need to move forward on housing and transportation at the same time. And then I just want to give a huge shout out to Hillcrest and sustainable housing development and building. We know how to do it well. Let's continue that model. And we know that the mobile home park style of home ownership is attractive to people, so let's try to do more of that too. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Gebler.
So we've all mentioned here that the $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 homes are not what we're looking for, but developers want to build that because that's where the money is. That's what they want to build. So when they come here, that's what they're going to offer to build. They don't make any money off of $200,000 homes. They don't make any money off of affordable starter homes for families. And that's our role in the city, is to say, if you want to make money from the permits and from the land and from the contracts we can offer to you to be able to develop these larger houses, we need to see as a city that you are also going to build houses that you may not make much money off of, but we need as a community. Developers who are willing to be able to do both exist. They're out there. We need to be able to hold the carrot and the stick and tell them that you will not build here if you're not going to also build affordable housing. You can build your $500,000 mansion on the hill. We need 4 houses over here that are affordable.
Great. Thank you so much. And with that, we are ending the question period of our forum, and we're going to go into our closing statements. And again, you have 1 minute for your closing statement, and we invite you to summarize your qualifications and all of that. So we are going to begin our closing statements with candidate Dahl.
Boy, that time went fast. Again, I want to thank you all for coming tonight and listening. And thank you to the League for putting this together. I want what's best for my hometown. We need to curtail spending, use common sense while promoting our town. We need to stay progressive. We've had a 76% increase in city debt in the last year. We cannot have people talking about leaving Northfield because property taxes are choking them. We need to increase our tax base with affordable housing and business development. Dundas has done a better job of doing that. As I watch them, we should certainly collaborate with them. We need to find ways to create shovel-ready development. We need to listen to what the people of Northfield come into City Hall and say. When somebody puts a petition together that has 1,100 names on it and it's ignored, that's a problem. Thank you all again for listening to me. I would love to be your mayor. Remember to vote in the primary, Tuesday, August 13th.
Thank you. Candidate Zweifel.
Thank you again. Thank you all for being here tonight. That has gone really quickly, and I had a lot of other stories that I'd love to tell you, so catch me afterward if you have a specific question. I bring city council experience to the mayoral role. I know how to get things done on the municipal level. I offer a change of leadership style. I would bring a collaborative leadership style to local government. I would bring my civic engagement experience. I know how to genuinely engage with the community, and I would make community input a priority. My super skill when I was on the council was listening and finding consensus. You would often see me with 3 different note cards in front of me, and I would be listening and hearing the citizen engagement, listening to the counselors, and I would have 3 different potential motions ready for that night, and then bring forward the one that resonated with what I was hearing, both from the dais and from the community. Thank you all again. I have some literature in the back, and please catch me. I'd love to chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Babini.
Thank you again, everybody, for coming. Thanks again to the league. The reason I want to be mayor is I'm going to go back to my passion. I have a passion to make things better. I won't stop until I do. I've ran 2 businesses for 2 gentlemen. One we started from the ground up, and I made it profitable in 4 years. Right now, that business does about $2 million a year. I'm no longer running it, but I was the stepping stone that made the place successful as it went along. So I feel I have the qualities as far as budgeting and learning how to spend money and spending it right. I want to prioritize where our money goes, where our tax money goes. We keep talking about a school that needs new windows and a heating system and a list of other things, but yet we spent our money on bike paths instead. We need to prioritize our money and where it goes. It should go into a pot, and then we see what do we really need? Not what we want, what do we really need? We need this city to be better about that. I believe I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Zucolato.
Thank you. Y'all know that no one up here is gonna fix this or change anything, right? We have 6 other people on the council that we all have to get in consensus to make a change. We have the staff. We have Ben, who's the city administrator. It's a whole culture we need to change. We need to start thinking different. If we keep going the way, and I believe me, we need to be fiscally responsible, but we need to fix our infrastructure. I believe in all these people have great ideas. We all have we all have the best intentions for Northfield, but it's like, can we get the spirit of John North in here? Can we get Paul Wellstone? Can we get Joseph Lee Hayward? You know, all these people that were great in Northfield, that stood up for something, that were leaders, that wanted a better Northfield, that, I don't know, that can we get that and keep that spirit? And that's the only reason I want to run for mayor, is to keep that spirit alive.
Thank you. Candidate Gebler.
I think that in this world that is continually becoming more and more polarized, I can bring to the table a compromising voice. We are all here yearning for a middle ground. We hear things get pulled to the extreme right or left or whatever it is, and we need to find a way that we can come together under some guiding principles of taking care of your basic needs first and prioritizing those, and then moving on to some of the things you'd like to achieve when you can, how you can, if you can. Having that compromising voice and being able to listen to all sides of things is something that I definitely bring to the table in a strong way for making sure that 1,100 signatures don't go ignored, but in also making sure that we stay focused on a common goal and a common future that we want to work towards. I've always said, and as my wife continues to remind me, we are all in this together.
Thank you. Candidate Pownell.
This one? Yeah. All right. I care deeply about my community. That's why I'm here. I believe in service. I've been part of the city council since 2008. I've served on state boards. And in that time, I've learned what works and what doesn't in civic leadership. Northfield is truly a beautiful city and is chock full of amazing talent and tremendous potential that has yet to be truly realized. Civility was at the core of my mayoral platform in 2016, and we've made significant progress in this area. Strategic planning and the ability to work with people all across different policy perspectives have been hallmarks of my time as mayor. And if you look back and you look at what all we've accomplished, you will see that that's true. 750 homes and rental units, either finished or in the pipeline. 13.7 million state or grants or bonding dollars for city initiatives just since 2020. And there's so much more. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, I'd like to remind you that the views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates, not those of the League of Women Voters. Sponsorship of this forum is not an endorsement of any candidate of the LWV of Northfield and Cannon Falls. And now for our closing, Alyssa Melby.
Thank you, Catherine. The League of Women Voters of the Northfield area, the Academic Civic Engagement Office at St. Olaf College and Carleton College would like to thank you all for attending in person and online. We would especially like to thank our candidates for being part of the democratic process by running for office and their willingness to serve our community. We also wish to thank all of the volunteers who gave their time today to make this event happen. The League also researches issues important to our members and to the health of our communities. If you are interested in finding more about what we do and how you can make a difference, please pick up a membership brochure at the registration table or visit us at lwvmn.org. Membership is open to anyone age 16 and older. You can find more information about the candidates and voting at vote411.org and lwvmn.org. Links to all of the candidate forums and additional voter information can be found at our local website, lwvnorthfieldmn.org. You may also wish to view the Northfield Chamber of Commerce's candidate forum from June 24th on northfieldlive.com. Again, thank you for coming, and remember to vote in the primary election on August 13th. We will now take a brief 5-minute recess before beginning the next forum for Northfield City Council Ward 2 at 7:05 p.m. Restrooms are located out in the hallway to the right on the other side of the stairs. Thank you.